for sure. Now, both of you have full-time jobs, very busy day jobs from what I can understand. And kind of what you said before, Pedro, I think one of the pieces of feedback we hear a lot is, you know, I'd love to be part of it, it's just a time commitment thing, don't know if I can really do it. How did you juggle the demands of blogging with, you know, the rest of your responsibilities?
Yeah, I think the idea that it's not a full-time job is driven by the fact that it's like a hobby. And when your ideas flow because it's a hobby and there's no pressure, I don't even know how you're able to do that like full-time to do that, to get that inspiration. But it's just following on Pedro's ideas that you're picking up the news, finding out what's hot, and then writing it based on what's hot, and then adding your content and your understanding of it. So the quality is there, and the ability to drive that traffic is also there. So that differentiates and pulls both aspects of it. But it is really just about getting the ideas flowing when you write.
Yeah.
I do a lot of thinking of the ideas prior, so when I write it, it just comes out.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, much what, very similar to your response, Chris. I think, this question comes up all the time, the question about time. And, time is a finite resource, and we're all under pressure to, do more with the time we have, or there's more and more choices that we need to make. And, this, I consider blogging like, any other choice that we have to make. It's a matter of, how we can fit it in. If it's important for you, then fitting it in a way that integrates as much as possible with your natural rhythm. So, as Chris indicated, being, an IT professional, this is not very much different from what I do day to day, whether it be, in front of a meeting with a smaller group, with a team, or, even, putting together presentations or emails. So, it's a matter of, trying to, and some of the messaging that I chose for some of the articles I wrote were kind of very similar themes that we had maybe discussed or were very congruent with what was happening in kind of the real world, so to speak. So it's a matter of taking that, finding the time to actually write. And when you've got a number of laptops in the home, you've got the access. It becomes a choice, and in my case, it was a little bit less sleep and a little bit more of Tim Hortons coffee to help fuel the activity. So
for sure. Obviously, in terms of getting traffic, part of it's building an audience and writing things that people are going to be interested in. Apart from all the writing you guys had to do, you've also had to do a lot of reading in terms of reading what each other were writing, and also I would imagine reading what else is going on kind of out there in the blogosphere. What do you find kind of attracts you to a blogger? I don't know if there's any ones in particular that you follow, but even on a post-by-post basis, what are you out there looking for if you're out there looking at other blogs at all?
I mean, I can jump in. I mean, I've been reading blogs I mentioned earlier for quite some time. I use Google Reader as my blog reader of choice because no matter where I am, I can always pull that up and keep going. I probably consume upwards of 4,000 to 5,000 articles a month, I would say, and I say consume very, very lightly. I mean, there's the flying, just cursory reading the actual headlines, and then the ones you choose to dig down, and definitely. The choice of the digging down is definitely, twofold. One is, that magnetic title. How, I've been fooled by many a title that makes me, believe that the content's going to be aligned a certain way, then it's not. But then those authors or that site will quickly get dropped out of my blog list. And the other one is, of course, the bloggers themselves. And obviously you become familiar with a certain blogger, and you tend to read theirs first. I'm a big fan of the shared Google Reader concept. So I follow, for example, Robert Scoble's list out there, and there's a number of other ones. And I've had a number of people, even colleagues, who follow my own. So as I read their shared list of what they've been able to dissect from a signal-to-noise ratio, then I do the same. And then again, everyone down the path kind of benefits from some type of filtering, whether completely valid or not. At least there's been some separating of the wheat from the chaff, so to speak, right? Sure. But that is a challenge. I think the signal-to-noise ratio out there is very low in general. I think everyone's striving to find tools that they can use to help surface those quality posts.
What about you, Chris? What are you reading out there? What are you looking for if you're on the internet to find blogs? Or
it goes along the same line as Pedro in terms of filtering out that information, because there's just a lot of information that's out there, and if you try to read everything and to consume everything, you just get lost. Mm-hmm. So to really find the top bloggers or the one with the voice that makes the most sense to you, mm-hmm. and that you agree with it really becomes a filtering process. So those become the leaders of other readers that follow them, but if you follow them and write about it and reference back, it's kind of like a two-way loop.
Yeah.
So that's...
Yeah, that's great.